Hey guys, hope you all have been well. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to be swatching and sharing some blushes for you guys that you can use for the fall/winter season. I know us makeup lovers, we have a bunch of makeup and sometimes we even categorize them by season. So I was able to pick out 5 from my collection, all different shades, all different depths, all different finishes for the most part, and all of them are ones that I would recommend to you. For shade reference, I am an NC35 to an NC37 in MAC. However, I will preface that I think all of these blushes would be able to fit a range of people's complexions, whether you're fair or whether you're deep. So if that sounds like an interesting video idea to you, I hope you decide to stay tuned. Let's get straight into it. The first blush on this list is a cream blush, and this is from Fenty Beauty. This is in the shade Daiquiri Dip. This is described as a soft coral red, and before you guys say anything, Annabelle, that doesn't look like a fall blush in the sense of how we understand fall blushes in the makeup community. But the way makeup trends have been shifting over the past few months, maybe the past couple years, I do know that the clean, very minimal look is some of the go-tos for makeup consumers, and so I wanted to give them an option and give you an option if you're part of that category. And a shade like this will give you that pinched, flushed, very wintry cold look. Warm it up on my finger right here. It is very, very bright. And I know that my makeup look right now is very dark. I think it'll look better with the other blushes that I'm going to be swatching for you today. But if you had just put this on, a little bit of mascara, maybe a tiny bit of highlighter, fluff up your brows, add some gloss on, this would look perfect for the fall winter season. And as you can see, after blending it out, you can see that reddish tint. It's not heavy, it's very light, and I know that with this particular product you do get your skin peeking through, and so it's gonna look like a natural flush on the cheeks. So the face is a little bit more lifted and awake, but it doesn't draw an excessive amount of attention. You went outside, you went sledding for a little bit, maybe you were raking some leaves and it's cold, it's chilly outside, and then you just get this flush. So here's the final look of the first blush, Fenty Beauty's Cream Blush in Daiquiri Dip. Next up, we have a MAC blush. I always include a MAC blush in one of these videos. It's kind of like a must on my channel at this point, but this is the blush in Desert Rose. This is a powder blush and it is a matte formulation. This is described as a soft reddish burgundy, and it's kind of like a must-have, especially for fall, to have something with a little bit of a purplish hue. For me, it's the season to pull out blushes of this sort. So I'm going to take my BK Beauty 107 brush, taking some of the blush right there, tap off excess, and I tend to build my blush. I can be very heavy-handed with blush, and so this will be the smart way to show you guys how it builds. And along with this eyeshadow look, it's like the perfect fall glam. So here we have it. If you're going to use this during the day, this is about as deep as I go. And so I'm going to apply a little bit more on my brush and see how this builds. Here's the final look of the first layer. I'm taking some more and building it up. And this blush can be worn with people who have deeper complexions to mine. I might say you could go all the way up to about an NC 50. 4750 would probably be the shade range where you can wear this rather comfortably as an everyday fall blush. But who knows? Why don't you just give it a swatch and see? It might look really good with people who have even deeper complexions than that. If you are fairer skinned to me, just use it with caution and use a very light hand. I suggest just dipping it into the pan and kind of brushing off a little bit of the excess on the back of your hand and then buff it in. And after applying the second layer, you can see just how much more depth I got with the color. And so if you're interested in having a purple blush, maybe you've been looking for the perfect reddish purple hue, then you might just want to make a trip to your store and give this blush a swatch. And here's the final look of MAC's Desert Rose Blush. Blush number 3 is from M Cosmetics, and this is their Heaven's Glow Radiant Blush, and this is in the shade Rococo. This shade here is described as a warm copper with pink and gold shimmer. I've been obsessing pretty heavily on these blushes from M Cosmetics, and I am still quite obsessed with it. This is going to be a wonderful option for those of you that are looking for a really good everyday blush, but it does transition well into other seasons. It's not a blush that you can just use strictly for winter and fall, which some of these might be. Since it is a new shade and it's kind of more on like the medium to lighter side in terms of the depth, it is pretty hard to go wrong with it. This shade happens to be my favorite out of the collection that I'm currently building. Taking the same brush after I've cleaned it off a bit, and since it does have the shimmer in it, it's going to give your cheeks a bit of a glow. But you know what? I don't mind that too much these days. But just the slightest bit of glow, which this one has, it's similar to MAC's MSF, their mineralized skin finish, which I believe is a baked formulation. It's just not as strong, and so it's more sheeny than it is shimmery. And now that I have it on my cheeks, this is actually a much heavier swatch, a lot heavier than I had put on Desert Rose, because I wanted to show you how high in pigment I can go with this blush, because it really doesn't look like much in the pan. But the way that it transfers onto the cheeks, I think it offers a little bit more pop in terms of the color, because let's be honest, it does look rather dull in the pan. It's such a complementary color on my complexion. I just absolutely love it. I have forgotten to show you the softer version of this, so let me just dust off a little bit of the excess and bring this down just a smidge. And so here's the final look of M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow Blush in Rococo. The next one is from Patrick Ta, and this is a duo, a cream and powder blush duo, and this is in the shade She's So LA. Don't quote me on this, but this might be one of his most popular, if not the most popular blush duo that he has. I believe twice before I had seen this go out of stock on Sephora, and I think Sephora has their sale going on right now. So if you had this on your wish list, you like the way it swatches today, I definitely recommend getting a discount on it, because it's rare to get a discount at Sephora. And I have used this on my channel before, so if you are a subscriber, you may have seen me use this already. But for those of you who haven't, I will be swatching it for you. And for this video, I'm going to be doing the Patrick Ta method, which is powder first and then cream on top. This can go pretty far up in terms of complexions. I use the tiniest bit of powder to apply this much blush on my cheeks. So if you do have deeper complexions, I would highly recommend at least looking into it if you're on the market for a new blush. And on the website, it says that this is a bronzy nude, but it almost feels a little terracotta-y as well. And most especially because of the cream blush that has a bit of redness in it. And so I'm going to take that on my finger. And before I apply it, here's the final look of just the powder blush by itself. And if I'm being completely honest, I tend to use this product just for the powder. It's rare that I'm going to use the cream just because it is a bit too deep. But because it's fall, I think this might be the perfect time to combine the two. And see with that cream, it just turned a little bit more red. And so if you're wanting to go all out, you want a cream and you want a powder, I would recommend that this is the one that you check out. It is fairly expensive for a blush, but when you think of the fact that you're getting two separate products and the likelihood of you ever finishing it, especially if you're just going to be using it once or twice a year, this definitely does make sense. And with a lighter hand, you can use any of these any time of the year. But I think now more than ever, if you want to go ham, if you want to go extra with these types of colors, now is the time to do it. So here's the final look of the Patrick Ta Blush Duo in She's So LA. And our final blush for this video is going to be a Pat McGrath blush from her Divine Blush collection, and this is in the shade Paradise Venus. The shade is described as a terracotta demi matte finish, and this will be the darkest one that I'm going to be swatching for you today. If there is a blush in my collection that I know would fit any skin tone, it would definitely be this blush. I have to be very careful with it though. It's She Pigment. I probably pounced this 3 or 4 times on my face and I already have color. Don't use a heavy hand, guys. Just lightly pounce it and blend it onto the cheeks. I don't want to go heavy on this one because I know it'll look very deep on my skin tone, but I'm going to apply it on both my cheeks so you get a better idea of at least the color of it. And this is a true terracotta color. It's brown and it's red. And I didn't even have to reapply any more product on my brush, just that first little dab in there, and I have all that I need. But tell me, does this not scream fall winter, or does this not scream fall winter? This is when you pull a blush like this out. As I'm looking in the mirror, I started to think this is the winter, like reddened cheeks, but in glam format. I just feel like I'm ready to go buy me a Christmas tree. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. I really do hope that you find it informative and helpful if you're on the hunt for a new fall blush. These are just some of my recommendations. I know that there are a ton of videos out there, so do your research, go out and swatch them if you can, and I hope you guys find the perfect one for you. I will be listing every single thing that I have on my face in the description box down below. I'll also be linking them in case you're interested in purchasing them for yourself. Just remember that most of them are magic links, so I do make a small commission every time you decide to make a purchase. You can also check me out on Instagram. It is the first link in the description box down below. That is where I post most of my makeup looks, along with all the products in the caption. Till the next video, I hope you all are doing well, taking great care of yourselves. I will see you all next time. Bye guys.